I've already turned it down, and if they still call the cops on it, I guess I'll turn it back up. Because I already
Do you have your ID?
made an agreement. No. I'll give you my name and my date of birth. Identify myself.
Grab that.
Yeah. Robert Jones.
We turned it
726. Yeah, we already turned it way down. I'm not going to turn it off. It's already at half volume.
I have the case law. My name's Lorraine, by the way. What's your name?
Common spelling, right?
Yeah.
You said Robert was the first name?
Yes.
Case law, I know what the case law is. There's an ordinance which is...
What's your middle initial?
JR.
From,
I got 2 middle names.
Okay, JR.
Yeah, James Royal.
Okay, and then what's your date of birth?
72680.
26 of what year?
80.
80. Appreciate that.
This is Yvette Frickle. She's from the Nampa Police Department. And
what is this?
This is the public disturbance noise and the hours of time and such, because we had the same exact thing happen in our neighborhood. And if you look,
Are all these people with you just so I have context of who's here? Or?
Yeah, they're out here for their own free will, yeah.
Okay.
Just out here discussing what I'm here for.
This is 50 feet
Okay.
from the vehicle. So I can hear it from here, and that's 50 feet.
But it's political activity, which,
and it's religious,
yeah.
and we're doing a political activity, so.
1 David 22 27 29.
Just so you know,
That's all I'm asking.
Be a male, last of John, Ocean, Nora, Edward, Sam. First of Robert, Ocean, Baker, Edward, Robert, Tom. Middle is J as in John, date of birth is 7/26/1980.
So I've already agreed to turn it down at their request. I'm not going to go any further. And if they're going to call the cops on me anyways, I won't do it. I won't turn it down again. And if you want to cite me, that's fine. But
Can you go race, right?
What's that? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
But just to make you aware. I know last time I heard they came lights. Maybe not sirens, but they came lights. So we'll see.
I have no clue what code 3 is. That was just something.
Code 3 is that it's the absolute emergency. Lights, sirens, get there now. Type it
What
up.
code was that? He said to look up. I'm trying to look it up.
It's a Boise City code. I have to look and see what the exact code number it is, but there's a noise ordinance, and then it could also fall into the category of disturbing the peace, depending on how. So who's got the good handwriting here? If I wrote on the sidewalk, no one would know what it said. They'd be like, eh.
Practice, man. We've been doing this for 2 years or so, so it's not anything new. But yeah.
What's going on with children though?
So I haven't met you before. Is there? What's the like? Is there a reason for this location, or you just kind of go to different locations, or?
Okay, so basically, I'll try to make it as short as possible because it's actually a very long story.
Okay.
But my initial experience with CPS is I was taken from my mom when I was 7 years old. I suffered every kind of abuse you can think of in CPS care, multiple times. There was a caseworker and foster parents that were jailed, put in prison over abusing me. But believe me, I was abused a lot. I was labeled a problem child instead of addressing the abuse allegations. So I was continuously abused. Okay, I got out of the system, turned 18. I kept the philosophy, God bless and keep the czar far, far away from me. I would, if you would have told me I'd be doing this 4 years ago, I'd tell you you're nuts. I would never do this. But then, about 4 years ago or so, was it 4 years or 3 years ago this last December? 4 years ago this last December, my sister, who has fetal alcohol syndrome, was tweaking. She knew it was a problem. She wanted to get off of it, but she couldn't take care of her kids and get off at the same time. So she asked for help from the department. They took her kids. Okay, I showed up here and would not leave the lobby until someone talked to me. They told me I had to become a licensed foster care provider to get my family. At the time, I thought, okay, that's how they prove that you're safe. So I believed them, which, by the way, that's not fact. But I believed them. So we did everything we're supposed to as far as becoming licensed foster care providers. We became licensed. They still denied us because we reported sexual abuse in the foster home. And I have them on video saying that exact thing. The reason they denied us is because I reported sexual abuse with their family, which they're referring to the foster family. Now they're trying to adopt them to that, and they may have done so already, to that very family where that sexual abuse claim came from. And also, the department asked me about another claim that was made that I didn't make of sexual crap happening in the foster home. So it's not just me who would report it. Other people who reported it too.
So your main beef is they're not allowing you to take custody of some kids you feel like you should be able to?
Well, that and
you don't like what you feel is corruption within the...
Well, there is no accountability.
Okay.
See, the department makes the decision. I tried to get into court. I went to the governor. I went to my politicians. I actually have some legislators that are willing to propose and sponsor a bill if I can come up with it. I'm just not very good at legal stuff.
Yeah. Have you contacted any attorneys? Is some that might take something pro bono?
Yeah, I actually have an attorney. The thing is that, and see, this isn't all I do. I also help families become reunited with their kids. I've helped 20 plus families. I just say that it's probably 30, maybe even 50. I don't know exactly, but I stopped counting, and I help them to reunite them. Some of the allegations have been toilet seat being up. One case specifically, her baby was shaken by the babysitter. They took the baby, justifiable removal, okay? You don't know who shook the baby. But they had criminally charged the babysitter because the babysitter's son actually was testifying against her saying, yeah, she didn't hurt the baby, she just shook the baby, which the kid didn't know that was what happened, that was the abuse. They gave her back her 4 other kids, but refused to give her back her baby, and she had to take it to court. She beat him, she's got her baby back now. But they continuously try to harass her. So I help people to stop the harassment. Now, if you actually abuse your kid, you don't want me to help you because all of my methods, if you actually abuse the kids, will blow up in your face. Because my methods are that there was no harm. If there was no harm, they can't take the kids.
You're trying to protect the kids and keep them with their families. Is that fair?
Yeah. Because in the system, I'm not saying every caseworker is bad. A lot of people take it that way. That's not what I'm saying. Just most of them. Statistically speaking, 80% of the kids that go into foster homes are abused 7 to 10 times more than they are in the general public. Approximately half of the kids who died from being abused to death happened when they were in CPS care. They actually had America's Missing and Exploited Children have actually come out with a statistic that 86% of all children in sex trafficking rings, child sex trafficking rings, come from the department. So 86%, that's huge, man. And it's a perpetual system. There's a lot of money involved, bonuses involved. Like in my case, I would have been a family member, not the parents that got the kids back, which by the way, my sister probably shouldn't get her kids back. Unless you can get her crap straight, and she still hasn't, so she shouldn't have got it. They only get a $4,000 bonus per kid. But since they adopted them out to strangers, they can get up to $16,000 bonus per kid, plus all of the extra money they get monthly, and then the department gets their cut of that money to administer the money. So there's a lot of money involved in it. If you look up Title 4D funding, that'll show you all the breakdowns of how much money it is in CPS, how much money there's involved in CPS taking people's kids. Now, I'm not saying, if you legitimately abuse your kid, then yes, there needs to be some thing. For one, I think they should be criminally charged and prosecuted, which a lot of child abusers get out of it by saying, well, we won't take our kids back. We won't fight for our kids back. But if you have, say, like my sister, you have a drug problem, you recognize you have a problem, and you want help, I think there should be a mechanism in which she should be able to get the help that she needs. Her kids should be safe in the meantime, and if a family member is willing, family member should be first priority. By law, that's the way it's supposed to be. Their primary placement is supposed to be the parents. Secondary is family with a significant relationship. Third is family, period. Then fourth is individual, like a neighbor or someone who has a significant relationship with the child. The CPS doesn't follow that. I mean, in my case, I was proven safe. I became a licensed foster care provider. I mean, I did everything I was supposed to. They tried to say I was crazy. I went to a counselor, said I wasn't. They said that wasn't good enough. They sent me to their psychologist. Their psychologist said that I had the best trauma response that they had ever seen in their entire life. So, I have proven myself over and over again to be safe to the department. I mean, through many officials, I have proven it. We had actually enough education that we could have rode on our education hours for 5 years as a foster parent. So we went above and beyond, and still they don't do it. They don't like that I'm religious. They don't like that I stand up for the Constitution. They say that's a bad thing. They have a lot of things. It's 3 now. That's my alarm. But they just attack me, and I have to do something peacefully as I can. I mean, I'm a peaceful person, so I have to do stuff to address it. I can't just sit by and let this go unheard of. And there's so few people that are actually willing to stand that I have to. I mean, I don't know your religious beliefs or whatnot, but I believe God has called me to this. He put me through the crap I went through as a child, and all the stuff the abuse that I've suffered, everything, so that I could speak from a position of power. Because it's not like I'm talking about somebody else with this. I personally experienced the corruption and the crap within the department. Now I help families to get families back together, to try to maintain the family. And I'm not just involved in just this. I also get involved in other political activities. I was a delegate for the Libertarian Party in the state of Idaho. I'm part of the Idaho 3%, Idaho Freedom, Health Freedom Idaho. My group is Exposed CPS Idaho. And if you doubt any of what I say about my case, you can actually go to the group Exposing CPS Idaho, and I've uploaded files of the documentation from CPS that says how great of a person I am, how the kids have an extreme bond to me. They said better than their mom, but that's not true. I'm Uncle Robert. I mean, I don't know if you have any kids in your life that you're not the dad of, but they always like the person who's not dad because or their parents, because when Uncle Robert comes over, it's about playing. I chew their mom's butt about cleaning up, and make sure they got clothes and stuff. So that's why they're super excited to see Uncle Robert, maybe not as excited to see Mom.
So I can understand your cause, and I hear what you're saying. I can hear where you're coming from. I don't understand with the music, if nobody's here, what the purpose is.
Well, actually, see how many cars are here? I've done it on Saturdays before, and usually there's 3. And see, I have to stay consistent. My stand has to be consistent, because if it's not consistent, then I'm not going to get anywhere. I can't, haphazardly hit this here and there. So even on a Saturday, I still want to reach the people that are in there, because the people that are in there on a Saturday are people who go out and take kids, 9 times out of 10. And with this many cars in the parking lot, there's a lot of them here, obviously. So compared to what they usually are. Usually there's 3 cars. 2 cars that who knows who they are, and then usually their Canadian security comes by and will just park there by the door or whatnot and just sit there, which is fine. You know, they stop coming out and talking to me because they keep understanding where I'm coming from, and they actually support me more than they want to persecute me, so they stop letting them come out to talk to me.
Do you understand the reason why we're involved, at least? So, I think my partner explained it to you. So the neighbors that have nothing to do with health and welfare.
Except that she's a social worker, but
Yeah. So that I just want to make sure you understand the reason why we're called out and what our role is in all this, because I can understand where you're coming from, and I can understand wanting to send a message to them, and I can also understand the neighbors' concern if they're trying to enjoy their time on a Saturday too. So
and see, it's just like, but it's also, you got to kind of look at it like, you know, my rights are protected by the Constitution, not only the national Constitution but the state Constitution also. Their right to quietness isn't. So it'd just be like if you get a call of somebody, you know, I open carry all the time. I only open carry this pistol, but some people like to open carry their ARs or their AKs or whatnot. That's their right. If I'm walking down Fairview with an AK strapped across my face or my chest, it's likely someone is going to call you and say something, and then the dispatcher should do it. But you know, it should, but sometimes they don't. When you come out and you see, hey, he's just exercising his rights, he's not, you know, he's not hurting anybody, then you tell the person who's complaining, saying, hey, he has the right to do it, whether you like it or not, he has the right to do it, and you guys have the discretion to do nothing, to just basically, when they call, say, hey, this has already been, you know, taken care of, he has the right to do this, you know, I will be going to court for it.
Hey, hang tight for 1 sec.
You have all this information.
I didn't get a phone number. I have his. I feel like my job as an officer, the most important thing I do is uphold people's rights too. So obviously I got to enforce laws and do that stuff, but to me the higher level than everything else is protecting people's rights, and that's the way our Constitution's set up. So I totally get that. There are some laws that apply to sound that maybe aren't written in the Constitution, but they are in state code and city code, and whether or not you recognize that, that's a different story.
Well,
but
that's not really law. You understand that, right? Code is not law. The Supreme Court has ruled code is not law.
So
it codifies the law.
Yeah, it can't change the Constitution. It can't be contrary to the we can't make a law that contradicts the Constitution. But as cities, we can have ordinances, and it can be more restrictive than like state law or federal law. But it can't change the law, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically our legislators make law, and then it's codified by attorneys usually. So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that I'm not disputing someone may possibly have the right to, you know, it's not documented anywhere, but there's a lot of rights that aren't documented, to have peace in their home. But as far as law enforcement and the government's concerned, they have, you know, you've sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution first and foremost. That's the first thing you always say. And so if my right is protected by the Constitution, then anything that impedes on my right that is protected by the Constitution is actually your duty to protect my rights over the rights that aren't in the Constitution.
And I think where we may, I totally understand your viewpoint, where we may have a little difference is the people that are neighbors, the way the state interprets it and the city ordinances interpret it is they have rights as well in their home to not have certain noises. So whether you agree with that or disagree with that, that's a whole other topic.
Let me ask you this, do you think my intentions are malicious?
I don't think so at all, no.
Okay,
I understand where you're coming from. I'm just trying to help you see what their concern is and calling us here. So I mean,
and I understand that.
If they're like totally chill with it, we have no reason to be here, right? But if they're calling us and saying we have an issue with the noise and there's a law, then that's why we're kind of brought into it. It's purely because, you know, I don't know if there's
I understand you have a job to do. And you have to respond to the call, but you can also, you know, I mean, someone can legitimately be breaking the law, and you don't have to ticket them. In this case, I'm exercising a right, which is protected by both constitutions, our state and federal, and their right to quietness in the middle of the day is not protected in any constitution. I've studied the Idaho Constitution also, because a lot of people seem to think that we only have this Constitution, but no, we have an Idaho Constitution too that actually further protects us and actually prohibits government from getting involved in more things. But I think it's Article 1, Section 20 of the Idaho Constitution states that this is the supreme law of the land. So it does, what do you call that? It is submissive to this Constitution. So if it's covered in this Constitution, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the Idaho Constitution. But this is in the Idaho State Constitution also. And, I kind of compare it to, I was at the inauguration of the governor, and part of their thing, they do the salute, a 21-gun salute or whatever. I'm not sure how many guns it is or whatever. But they let off cannons there. And I could feel it vibrating in my clothes. I mean, literally could feel it. And I was from here to, I don't know, that blue sign over there. I was quite a ways away. And that's okay. If I was to call you guys out and say, hey, these guys are lighting off cannons, I want to charge them with disturbing the peace, would you guys actually ticket the Idaho National Guard for that?
Well, when it comes to certain kind of events, whether you agree or not, they get permission through the city that grants them that exclusion.
Okay, but
for a particular time and place. I know what you're saying. I'm not.
To exercise the right, you don't need government's permission.
So, I'm just trying to help you understand why we're here. So I know you probably won't disagree if we get into nitpicking the charge.
Yeah,
that is in the like the disturbing the peace or the state ordinance or the city ordinance codes. I know you probably won't agree with how those are written, and I get that, and I'm not going to argue with you over that.
Yeah, well, and I understand. Like, you're trained to do a certain thing, and all of your training doesn't necessarily coincide with the Constitution, and I get that. Just like I was cited before for noise ordinance violation, the prosecutor did not prosecute it. They decided that no. So I understand that, and I don't hate cops. So I want you to understand that.
You've been very respectful, and I appreciate that. So.
I care about cops also. I care about these people, even though they've done a lot of damage in my life. I still care about the individual people in the department, because it's not. I don't see it as. I think most caseworkers become caseworkers because they want to help children. It's the system that's bad. It's the indoctrination of, we should take a kid because the toilet seat's up. That's what I have a problem with, and that's what I'm here standing against. If you smacked your kid, and you abused your kid, you beat up your kid, by all rights, I think that you should be charged, you should go to jail, and there should be enhancements because it was a child. Because, there's an unfair advantage there. Just like there's enhancements if me and her get into a fight, there's enhancements, domestic battery versus just regular battery. I think with kids, it should be, child abuse should be prosecuted even more. But if you look at the statistics, they're actually not. They're prosecuted less, which is, to me, appalling. Basically, we'll trade you, we'll drop the charges against you if you're willing to just give us your kid. Sign away your rights. And so if they sign away their rights, a lot of times they get out of the criminal charges, which I think is bullshit. I don't care if you don't think you can take your kid no more, you should still go to jail over beating up your kid, just as much as if you beat me up, if not more so, in my opinion, technically more so. But, it's just about fairness, and about holding people accountable. I hope you understand, I'm not trying to talk shit to you, I'm trying to actually
I asked you because I want to understand your viewpoint, okay?
Yeah,
and I think you and I agree very much that taking care of kids is probably one of the most important things we do as a society. And how we do that is important, and not having, I get your cause. I'm not super familiar with all the things you said, so I take it at face value. I take it at face value that you have some legitimate concerns that you're addressing. At the same time, our reason for being here has nothing to do with the cause as much as the neighbors and the noise and the ordinance. So so
you understand, I don't hold any grudges to even the cop that threw me down once here. I don't hold any grudges against him personally. I think that he's one of the bad apples. But if you have enough good apples, unlike what people think, good apples can turn a bad apple into a good apple. If cops understand, if the majority of cops would, not follow the blue line and, see everybody is, no matter if you have a badge or if you don't have a badge, the same. If I hit you, it should be the same charge as if I hit her, because you're a person too. She's a person too. It shouldn't be enhanced for that. But But yeah, so you understand, I'm not trying to create conflict with the cops. I honestly would rather you guys leave me alone when it comes down to it. But
we would rather leave you alone also. Okay. Here's the deal. People have the right to have their peace disturbed. Okay, and this guy wanted to sign a complaint about. So you'll probably have to go to court on this, and you can talk to a judge and say why you're out here and what was going on.
Yeah, we're already in court over it.
So basically what this is disturbing the peace ticket. There's court dates on the front. Court dates are from February 1st to February 8th. Okay. You just go set up a time to go to court on it.
Yeah, I think my lawyer takes over from there.
Yeah, it's 200 West Front Street. Questions about that at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
One thing is, do you really think I'm malicious? Do you think my activity out here is malicious?
Well, when you turn up your stereo to the point where it's disturbing their peace, that's...
You think it's malicious then, huh?
Well, yeah.
My intent is malicious. Okay.
Well,
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
So, okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
Take care.